United States prison system has consumed a large portion of the United States budget and has only grown in the past 30 years. Incarceration rates have increased dramatically over recent years, which have led to greater costs for the prison system. Studies have estimated that incarceration rates have grown by over 700% over the last 4 decades.
With such high costs, it is important to assess how effective our current prison system is because the money is coming directly from the pocket of the taxpayers. In this documentary, we will examine the question: is United States taxpayer money meeting its potential and being used correctly concerning United States prison systems?
A huge portion of these prisoners are repeat offenders. It's estimated that every year a person is in prison, their chances of reoffending go up by 5.6% each year. Officer Matt May echoed these thoughts in our interview with him, claiming that he often sees repeat offenders and that he is constantly seeing the same people and families with regards to crime.
The United States has created a system where many individuals are cycled through a prison. Many people are often sent to prison, released, and then sent right back to prison.
The United States currently spends more money on its prison systems than it does on education. Adjusting for inflation, government spending has grown by 141% over the last 30 years. This is significantly greater than the growth in education spending, which has grown 69% over the last 30 years. We spend more on our prison systems, yet education could be a solution to lower incarceration rates. In every state, the cost per inmate is greater than the cost per student. If the government were to take some of the funding from prisons to education, crime rates would go down.
Tell me one, Carter.
Ready when you are.
Alright. Do you believe that our government uses enough of its budget on education to ensure quality of education for all?
I think that there can always be, more things that we could do in education, and obviously funding is a big part of that. The thing that I would be careful with is you want to make sure that you're not just giving money to give money, that there's very specific and targeted areas that you're giving the money to education. And as long as districts and counties and states can assure and show how that money's being used and in what way and the benefits, then I think absolutely that the money, there could be more money that could be used in a useful way.
Okay, and then in your experience, how does education impact students with regards to making choices?
Teaching at a high school and a middle school, and then having my own children in an elementary, I think really looking at the elementary, when done right, we're fortunate and blessed to be in elementary schools that do a fantastic job, not only on the academic side, but on the social and emotional side. So looking at the young ones and how we're developing their character, helping develop their character along with their parents, I think is a huge impact on behaviors and attitudes that they have as they grow up and go into middle school and high school and eventually become productive adults. So education can be very impactful, I think, on individual students in that character building aspect.
So then based on that answer, do you believe that an improved academic life would help combat crime?
I think it could. It's got to be partnered with several things. I mean, schools can only do so much, but schools putting in some very targeted and specific character building and education and social emotional aspects along with the academic side, but they've got to then be able to partner with moms and dads, families that are also reinforcing that at home, and then community people that are also doing that. You put those three together, and I think that there's going to be a huge positive impact on maybe lowering the amount of crime that we have, or people being more aware of right and wrong and what to do and making better decisions as they grow older.
And is there anything else that you'd like to say about using tax money for the education system or the prison system?
Again, I'm just definitely not one that's about taxing, just taxing to tax and just giving money to give money. I think that as long as we're very specific and using it appropriately and in a targeted way, and then can show results as far as that's concerned, I think that it's probably.
To gain further knowledge of our legal system, we interviewed Judge Diane Wheeler.
I'm here with District Judge Wheeler. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, my name is Diane Wheeler, and I'm one of the district judges that cover Oldham, Henry, and Trimble County. I've been on the bench for 15 years, and I deal with criminal law as well as civil law on a daily basis.
All right, with that being said, how often do you see criminals who are repeat offenders?
I see them quite frequently. I would say that our recidivism rate on reoffenders is probably approximately 70 to 75%. I had district court today, and I probably saw out of 20 people, 5 of the individuals I've seen on prior occasions.
All right. All right. So with that being said, like in your time as a judge, have you noticed a change in the rate people are being sent to prison over time?
Yes, I have, because different laws have come into effect in the past few years, and now, mainly because of the overcrowding in prisons, they have asked us to look into alternative sentences instead of sending people to prison, to see if we can rehabilitate them in other ways, such as sending them into residential drug treatment or putting them on probation with conditions, or coming up with other ways to punishment other than the prison system.
Do you think that'd be a good solution to this?
Well, what we do know is in a lot of situations, just going to prison really doesn't rehabilitate these individuals, so that we do need to look at alternative ways that can maybe help them, that when they do get out of prison, that they could be good citizens and successful.
And then, like, what are the most common crimes for people going to prison? Like in general, like, what do you usually get people, like, to prison, like, mostly on?
What we're seeing right now, there's been a change in the past few years, but a lot of it is drug related. And because drugs are so prevalent right now, we're seeing a lot of heroin use, meth use, and those are all felonies that you can go to prison for. And as a result of the abuse of substances, we are seeing other crimes related to drug use, and that would be situations where domestic and violent crimes occur because people are under the influence at the time and don't realize what they're doing. And then we see a lot of theft because people are stealing items from even their own family members to buy drugs, and they end up in prison over something like that.
So it's more like a family kind of thing sometimes? Like,
It has been. I mean, the whole drug situation affects the entire family at times, not just the individual.
all right, is there anything else you'd like to say that we haven't mentioned yet?
Well, I think that the one thing that we are trying to do as a court system is we are trying to find alternatives to help individuals, because we find that for the majority of people, and our average age of a person going to prison is from 21 to 27. So it's young people that are making poor choices, and what we can do to avoid them going to prison from the outset, whether it be and get them involved in counseling or treatment for substance abuse or other issues, or for anger management or whatever, to avoid it, because there's not a lot of rehabilitation done in prison. It's merely you sit there and do your time. So I think with the legislature's now funded more programs, that with maybe some preventative measures being done, that maybe so many people wouldn't end up in prison.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That was nice.